Thank you to our sponsors, Crary and Full Pod 2022, Farmers Mutual of Nebraska, North Dakota Soybean Council, North Dakota Corn Council, Minnesota Soybean, and Geringhoff.
It's turned out to be a good growing season for corn, and many farmers are getting ready to harvest in a few weeks. Our Agweek corn and soybean tour takes us to East Central North Dakota.
We have corn that's changing color, and it's the middle of September. I think looking at the spring we had, that was something we never would have expected.
Like most crops around the region, corn got off to a late start because of the cool, wet spring. For many, planting was about 2 weeks late, going in the middle of May here. But the good summer growing conditions helped it catch up.
We hit a hot and dry snap, so that really accumulated growing degree days, but also helped to really push our plants to get them kind of more on track. So right now, I think all things considered, the corn crop is looking better than we could have expected.
And the weather didn't only cooperate for growing.
And again, that's where we got really lucky. Diseases like it cool and wet, and our prime disease times is when we were hot and dry. As far as pests goes, not really. And that's, again, another pleasant surprise considering the spring we had.
Murphy says yields and test weights are looking pretty good right now.
If it stays hot and dry, we'll continue to accumulate those growing degree days, so our harvest could be, honestly, I think within the next 2 weeks. It's farming, it's anybody's game, and right now it's totally up in the air.
I'm outside of Casselton, North Dakota on Agweek's corn and soybean crops tour, and today I'm with Justice Kiefhofer. So Justice, how is the soybean crop looking in this area?
You know, locally we are set up for a pretty good crop. I think there's a lot of optimism out in the countryside with farmers, and I'm excited to see what we can accomplish this fall.
So what are some of the obstacles you've had to overcome in terms of pests or possible diseases?
Yeah, you know, early we started off with a late planting date, and fortunately we collected a lot of GDUs throughout the year. But early on we had grasshoppers that we were spraying for, which affected our soybean crop, and guys treated those as appropriate. Next, we had a lot of iron deficiency chlorosis due to nutrient tie-up.
And what would you say would be the expected harvest date for this region?
You know, it varies based on planting date and variety. There's fields that should be off in the next 7 to 10 days locally, and then there's going to be fields that are green like this one we're out in front of that are going to be closer to 16 to 20 days. So it's a wide range.
So we had a very hot summer. Do you think those extra growing degree days were important for this crop this year?
Absolutely. We had the heat, but we also had the moisture. And two things that make beans flower well and produce, you know, soybeans, we need the heat, we need the moisture. I think we're set up well based off GDUs. You know, we're 200 GDUs ahead of normal, which is affecting all of our crops in a positive way based off our late start.
So in terms of yield, what would be your estimate for this area?
You know, locally, typically guys are happy with 45 to 55 bushel beans. We set the stage up well. Now that we're moving into harvest, I think we're gonna hit some yield goals locally. I think we have the potential of a crop where guys could hit some record yields in some fields. And then there's fields that have our issues with diseases that are gonna inhibit that a little bit. But overall, I think we're on par for an average to above average year.
Justice Kiefhofer, thank you so much for joining us today on Agweek's Corn and Soybean Crop Tour. Thanks for watching Agweek TV on YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe. We put out new videos every Saturday.